Hello everyone, this is Terry Honeycutt with My Photo Borders. Today I'd like to demonstrate one of our newest templates. This is called 3D Numbers, and it's a very flexible template which allows these 3D numbers to be displayed very large to go along with your player, whether they have two numbers or one number. So I just want to break it down on how this template works so you'll have a good understanding of the function here. So with this template, because of all the 3D numbers that we had to render out, we actually rendered out the numbers, and we also rendered out the reflection pass as well to give you this nice reflective look. So in order to do that, and these numbers are quite large, I tried placing all the numbers into one file, but unfortunately it became so large. I mean, I was over a gig. So I had to break it out and put the numbers in separate folders. So basically when you download this, you'll have one template, which will actually be the template itself. Then there will be two other templates or two other PSD files. One will be the left-right numbers. The other file will be the center numbers for single-digit numbers. So, and I'll go over those in just a few minutes. So basically what you'll do is if you need a certain number, you'll open that folder, drag the numbers over of what you need. That way we can kind of keep this compacted, and you won't be working with a huge file, and it'll make it easier for us to allow you to be able to download it as well. So let me go ahead and get started. So I actually have numbers already in here to kind of use as a demo, and I have a model here. But so basically we kept this kind of real dark solid black to give it this nice reflective look that we were going for, and then in the background we just have a more or less a stadium kind of scene, just to give it a little bit of highlights in the background. So at the very bottom two layers, there's actually two stadium options. You'll see it says stadium background 1, stadium background 2, and you can just turn off whichever one you want to use. So one basically is just kind of a faded out kind of arena looking background. The other one is more of kind of looks like this stadium seating. So you basically have two looks, for you to kind of choose which look you like. And so there is a layer here that says place 3D numbers below here, and I have this layer locked down. So below there is where you will actually drag your numbers to. So where you see these two layers right here, the number 2, number 6, you would basically just turn these off and drop in some new numbers for the player. So let me go ahead and demonstrate how that works. So I'm going to turn these two off. And basically what you would do, I've already got the folders open. So I have here my 3D left numbers and 3D right numbers. And let's go ahead and change these. So let's go ahead and say maybe we have a player and he is number 35 maybe. So I'm going to turn these two on. And so I'm going to grab the 5, and I have them labeled 5 right, 3 left, so you'll know which one you're working with. I'm going to grab these two, select both layers. I'm going to hold down my shift key here on a PC, and I'm going to drag these over and drop them onto this template. Okay, so within the folder, I actually put each number in a folder, because in the folder is the reflection that's linked to it, so that they stay together when you drag them over. If for some reason you wanted to scale them, that way the reflection will scale along with it. So that's how the numbers work. Now you can customize the colors of the numbers. The way these numbers work is with the color change, it's basically you're changing it with a hue saturation level, adjustment level. So if you double click on the icon, it's going to bring up the hue saturation adjustment. So you do have a little bit of variance on what colors you can get. So because it's not an overlay or an actual true color channel, I guess per se, you're not going to be able to like pinpoint down to an exact color tone of a certain color, but you will get variations of blues, reds, yellow, greens, some of your primary colors. But for example, let's say they had a teal jersey, you may not actually get a teal color to match exactly. So I can get kind of a light bluish, but you may not get like a greenish bluish. Well, maybe they're kind of, but so just remember, keep that in mind. You may not get an exact color match, which is okay. So sometimes, you know, you don't have to exactly match the jersey to make it look good. But I just want to kind of tell you that on the color part of it. There is a workaround I can show you if you want to try to get an exact color match, but it will not look as nice as using the hue saturation. The way we have it set up now, if I turn the hue saturation off, you'll see that the original colors were orange to start with. That's just the way we rendered them out. It doesn't really matter what color they were, but the hue saturation is basically changing that, and because of the way we have it set up, it's actually changing the reflection. Every part of it is going to stay synced, so which is really nice. You don't have to go messing with a whole lot of adjustments and colors, so that's one thing about it. So I will show you a workaround on how to modify it if for some reason you're trying to find an exact specific color. I'll go ahead and show you that. So let me just go ahead and show you that now, so we can get it out of the way. So let's go ahead. If for some reason I was looking for an exact color, what I would do is just go ahead and turn this off, the hue saturation. I would probably go ahead and so what I would do is I would come here, and I'm actually going to come to the bottom here to my adjustments, and I would probably just choose solid color, and let's just pick red for example, and then I'm going to hold down my Alt key, and you'll see the little down arrow come up here. I'm going to clip that to the number 3. So at this point I would change this to overlay mode, and then I would go, let me turn this off. I would do one more thing. I would go ahead and desaturate these numbers and reflections. So on the keyboard I'm going to do Shift Control U, which will desaturate it, or you can actually come up here and say image adjust desaturate right here. And so I'm basically going to take the color out of these when I'm using overlay mode, and if I turn the overlay mode on, you'll see what's going to happen here. If you notice, you can now pick a specific color. So let me just kind of show you what I'm talking about. So you can get whatever color you want now this way. The only scenario is if you notice you lose this really black look, this nice shiny black part of it, because the overlay is going to affect the whole number, and because this has a highlight color here which kind of is a gray tone, it's actually going to change that, whereas it's not going to really change the black much, but it will change the gray tones here. So that's what you will actually lose. You'll lose some of the black detail that you see up under the beveled edges here, the extruded edges. You'll notice you'll lose some of that. So anywhere there's like gray tones, it's going to kind of change to the color that you pick. That's the downside of it. I don't think it looks as nice as using the hue saturation, but if you do need to get a specific color, that would be the workaround. So what you'd want to do is, so since I have a color fill applied to the 3, you would also want to do the same thing to the reflection. So I'm just going to duplicate this layer, and then you'd also want to clip it to the reflection. So when you change the color fill, you'll also have to change the color fill reflection to match down top and bottom. So that's kind of a workaround for that. You would have to do that to the left number, the right number, the same sequence, or any new numbers you brought in if you decided you wanted to go that route. So I just wanted to make that available to you and show you what options you have. So and one other thing is, I'd like to mention is this design actually works quite well with a full-length shot. And if you do a full-length shot, make sure you go the extra mile and add these little reflections under here, because that makes a huge difference. Because you've got the numbers reflecting, you would also want the player reflecting. Otherwise, I just don't think it would look good. It would look like he's maybe just floating and not mounted to the ground. So like I said, it does work really well for full-length shots, but if for some reason you wanted a full-length, let's say a three-quarter shot, a three-quarter shot works okay too when you're using the two numbers. If you were using, let's say, maybe one number, and the player didn't have two numbers, and you wanted to use a single digit, then I probably wouldn't recommend a three-quarter shot, just because I think the player's just going to cover up most of the number anyway, and then you're just not really going to be able to see it. It's not going to have the same effect. Unless, you know, for example, if the player was just number 6, you could always do a 0-6. I know some people don't like to do that. Some people don't mind, but if you want to use a single digit, then I would recommend doing the full-length model. So let's go ahead and I have another template I'm going to open up here for you, showing how to use the showing one with a single digit number. The single digit numbers I actually have in a separate folder, and I'll show them. This is the center numbers. We have them 0 through 9 as well. So if you just want to use a single digit. So let me go ahead and grab a single digit file. I'm going to open this one up. Give me a second. Alright, so let me enlarge it here on my screen. Okay, so this is one, I actually just threw an action photo in here of a girl. So she's number 3, you notice, and I have just a huge number 3. Like I say, it works great if you use a full body shot, because here you can see the number very well behind her. And if I did, like I say, a three-quarter shot, I think it would get mostly covered up. So that kind of goes over the numbers. Just keep in mind they're going to be in separate folders, so you'll just go grab whatever number you need and replace the current number that's in the file. So one thing I'm going to show you here real quick is as far as adjusting the hue saturation of the number, you can adjust the different elements here at the bottom with the name plates. And all of those here are color coded in red, so you'll be able to see those, each one. For example, if you want to change the bottom nameplate or the blue, just double click on the color swatches and it's going to open up the color picker. And then as you can see, actually this is the thick line on the right hand side. As you can see, it's very customizable. So the diagonal shapes is these yellow parts here. If you double click on this, it'll open up the color picker and you can customize it as well. So so we add each one of these different elements, the stripes, the diagonal shapes, all are customizable, along with the nameplate bar here, as well as the text on the bottom. And then, like I say, once again, you have the background options in the back. Depending on what background you want, you can turn on and turn off. There is a little floor glow on the bottom. If you notice, it kind of goes from black to a little bit of gray. That just gives a little more highlight. That is on this layer. It says floor glow, and so you can turn it on or off if you want it solid black, for example. It's up to you. So just on and off. There's a layer here. It says drop photo above here. Make sure that you place your photo above that layer. And let me see if there's anything else that I need to cover. And the rest of it is just a lot of different layers pertaining to this bottom section. So that is pretty much it on that template. So we only have this one available in the vertical format, in a 4:5 ratio and a 2:3 ratio template. So we haven't done anything horizontally. We may come back and do another template, maybe using the year or something in a horizontal format. But for now, this is what we have available. If you have any questions about the template itself, or you run into any problems, just give us a call or shoot us an email. Thank you very much, and have a great day.